Welcome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here in the service of your own bodies. In the yogic understanding, we have five: a physical body, a breath body, an emotional body, the body of thoughts, memory, and planning, and the intuitive body connected to the cosmic source energy. So arriving in your fullness here, in your body, in your breath, in your feelings and thoughts. For whatever pieces and parts of the practice that you are here to receive, you might receive lying down and practicing in the imagination. You might move your body, and anything I offer is a suggestion. You make the decision whether it feels like a good idea for your body. And the sun has recently crossed over into the sign of Taurus in our tropical zodiac here in the Western astrology. And so Taurus is the ruler of the neck. I'll guide you from beginning with the neck, beginning with an awareness of the neck, awareness of the breath, moving through the throat, just taking a moment to situate where the neck is in your body with the awareness between the head and the shoulders, making any arrangements, any organizations of the shoulder blades and the shoulders, of the jaw, of any of the muscles in the face, so that we can be present to the neck. And if you're on the floor lying down, you're welcome to do these practices with the head supported. You can do these suggestions without lifting the head. And you might choose to engage that way to make it a little heavier and demanding by lifting the head. But if you're lying down on the floor, you lengthen the back of the neck and bring the chin towards the throat, keeping the head on the floor. And if you're sitting, you can do something similar. You've got the freedom that the head might move a little forward and back without the floor to guide it. But if you're on the floor, you can tuck the chin in and then roll over the back of the head to lift the chin up the way you might sitting, turn to look at the ceiling. And this is the first invitation, this up and down movement, this slow motion, yes. Finding the range of motion in the neck today, the up and the down. And as you do this slow motion, yes, notice if you can go a little maybe deeper with the further repetitions. Maybe it feels good to hold and breathe in one of these extreme ending positions, the forward or the backward. And then I invite you to consider all the things that you say yes to. Yes to peace and to joy. Yes to deep rest and good nourishment. What else are you saying yes to? Health and strength and courage. Slow motion, yes, to begin the session. And you might take another moment there as you find what you need and arrive at the center, arrive in the middle again, at the top, for side to side. So if you're sitting, it's the ear that moves towards the shoulder, up and over. If you're lying down, you might slide your head along the floor a little bit so you make that banana shape in the neck, that curve, ear towards the shoulder, stretching the neck on one side and the other. If you are sitting, you can try this lying down. It gets a little more complicated, but if you are sitting, certainly, as the head points, for example, to the right, then the right hand comes around to the left ear. So it's the crown and the head ends up in the inside of the elbow there. And it could be that the weight of the hand on the ear this way helps the the stretch feel good? That might be something you like to add to your practice, the weight of a hand. And you might even practice a little resistance, trying to lift the head and yet keeping it down with the hand. So a little engagement and release. Anything you do on one side, the recommendation is to also do it on the other side. Noticing, of course, how the two sides are similar, how they might be different. The sides of the neck, and as you move your head side to side, to me it looks like an I don't know kind of gesture, like, well, it could be this, it could be that, and we're still there, folks. Things are changing in the world, and yet in many ways we have a lot of uncertainty to navigate, a lot of decisions to make that are not clear or obvious. So honoring the confusion, honoring the mystery, the unknown that we are always surrounded by and part of. Taking that side to side, and then the neck twists. So if you're lying down, you turn your nose to one side and to the other. If you're sitting, you look behind a shoulder, and this might be done with eyes open. You might actually be looking and letting your eyes guide the movement. Or you might practice this with eyes closed. You might keep the eyelids down and let the eyes move into the corners along with the twist. And as you hang out here, you might find that staying to one side might feel good, and there might be a little yes inside of that no. The slow, big movement, it is like a slow motion no, and that's very good to set some big boundaries. And there might be some little yeses at the edges of that no. Seeing what you can offer your neck, left and right, right and left. Moving through the neck, and however, in the ways that you need. And as we satisfy these three directions, the yes, the maybe, and the no, you'll arrive at the center for a rotation, and that's drawing that circle with the nose, with the tip of the nose, as if it were a marker or a pencil and there was a page directly in front of you. And you might like a deeper neck roll. You might enjoy moving it in a bigger way. That's your business. This is your body. Go slowly, go carefully. I'm offering a gentle, upright rotation, soft in the jaw, soft in the tongue, spinning around and around. From small to big and back to small, back to center, back to stillness. To change direction from the stillness, to change and go the opposite way. Loosen the jaw and soften the tongue. Eyes can be open and looking around. They might be closed. That might feel good. One of my favorite things to say has been that you don't need to see me or yourself to feel better. You can close your eyes. That's where the magic lies. So letting the eyes be closed as you work the neck. And take a few breaths, noticing what you did there, if there's any other directions, any other movements that the neck is enjoying, requesting, requiring, moving around. And then moving into the shoulders with a little bit of a shrug. If you're lying down, the shoulders can come up and down. If you're sitting, you might shrug and lower them. If you're sitting, you might have the room to rotate, moving the shoulders up and down, backward and forward. Getting the nooks and the crannies out of the shoulders, taking turns, left side, right side, in a forward manner, in a backward manner. And wherever you are, let your arms reach in front of you, lengthening the arms. If you're lying down, you might be reaching towards the ceiling. If you're sitting, maybe into the wall opposite, and touching the shoulders. And we'll do that a few times right in front and to the shoulders. 3 to 5 times. It might feel nice. There might be something in your body saying, oh yes. You might do another one and your body might be saying that's enough. If you're ready for something new, we're going to go up overhead. So if you're on the floor, you're reaching to the wall above you. And if you're sitting, you're reaching to the ceiling. 3 to 5 times. Again, noticing how do the armpits feel? How do the shoulders feel? What's in the elbows today? And if there's space and room around you to go out at shoulder level, out like a capital, well, I guess it's more of a lowercase t with your head there. 3 to 5 times. And the next time you arrive with the fingertips on the shoulders, stay there, keep them there as the elbows come to meet one another in the front, and then they open. Bringing the elbows together and apart, moving the shoulders. Feel what's going on with the shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades. And if you're sitting, you might make a bigger deal out of this. You might make as big of a movement as you're able to, including some of the movement available in the spine. If you're lying down, you're noticing what is available. As we move from these forward and backs into rotations, when you're ready, you will draw circles with the elbows, round and round. Wherever it is available, you go. And 3 to 5, in that first direction, you'll switch to the opposite direction for another 3 to 5. Oh, human body, all these moving parts. I'm gonna move them up today, move every joint so it gets some better lubrication, some oxygen. You might be moving into figure 8s with your elbows if you are ready for a little more nuance in those shoulder sockets. And you're playing, you're saying, how big of a movement can I make? How small of a movement do I feel an effect from? Maybe one arm has been dealing with an injury or feeling stiff. You might focus on just one side for any specific need. Let your body guide you as you work through these shoulders and movements with the elbows. How shoulders are connected to the neck. Feel the effects in the neck, in the upper back, at the upper chest. And let's do some more elbow movements. You were straightening and folding the arms, so hopefully the flexion is warmed up, but bringing the arms into a position where you can draw circles from the elbows as the axis. So if you might even point a finger. That some people find that helpful, so that you're actually drawing a circle with the forearms, and that movement is happening in the elbow socket, in the elbow joint. In one direction, you'll change that direction to go the opposite way. And then from here, we get to play with infinity symbols. You might even hear the music if you were an orchestra conductor here. And changing that infinity to backward. So flipping that around, flipping that over. Feeling what you feel in the elbows, letting them rest when they give you a signal that that's enough. They might be rarely used in this manner. But these movements, any joint movements, will help those joints create their natural lubrication, their synovial fluids, which we welcome and enjoy to keep the body fluffed and vibrant. So into the wrists and hands. From the elbows, we've been moving down today. Wrists forward and back, bending this joint however far is available. You're exploring, you're comparing. I'm noticing my left side feels so much tighter than my right side. I'm curious what that's about, but I'm moving slowly. And from here, either a soft fist or open fingers, you know what works in your specific organization there for rotations, 3 to 5 times, round and round in one way and in the other way. And from circles to infinities, finding this nuance in the wrist and then changing that direction. And you might need to rest the arms. You might need to give them a little dance party, a little shake. And stretching the fingers has a big connection to the wrist. So after that wrist movement, it might be nice just to stretch out the fingers and do a few extra big, and finding that space between the thumb and index, the space between the index and middle, between the middle and ring, between the ring and little, getting this expansing fanning happening in the hands so that you then go from the big to the small. The thumbs tuck in, the fingers wrap around the thumbs. Give those a few pumps, a few squeezes to open one at a time. And again, find that big open expanse. How stretched can you make your hands? I don't think our hands can get enough of that, especially now as we're using these little technology things. Everything's a kiosk with a touch screen, keyboard, little itty bitty motor movements. So exercising the hands, stretching them out, stretching them big. Making little kitty cat claws, folding just the knuckles, keeping the palms open. You might need some of those. You might need some rotations. I just do 3 in each direction in this sort of context when I'm moving through all of the joints. But when I'm driving, I'll tell you, if I've got the time, I'll do 15 in each direction. One hand at a time, of course. One hand on the steering wheel. Make it into a half-hour practice if I can, just for the fingers and the hands. But today we'll do them efficiently. You can always go back to this, especially if fingers and hands are a place where you store tension, where you've got some sort of achiness or thickness, whatever other movements your hands might need, little typewriter movements and piano movements and rain falling down movements, the dance of the fingers. Fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders, neck. Hooray! We're going to move to the lower joints in a breath. Let's take a moment before you switch gears. Take a moment to notice what this feels like. What have you done? What are the sensations that the body is responding with? What's the difference between the hands and the legs? The arms and the legs, the hands and the feet. All right. For the toes, you might still be lying down. You might be sitting on a chair. And if you're sitting on the floor, the recommendation is have the legs lengthened out, stretched out, so that the toes can bend freely up and down. Oh, and mine are almost camouflage in my space here. I'll move them a little bit more to the lighter background. And the practice begins with folding of the toes. Meanwhile, there's an upright in the spine. Meanwhile, this upper body, especially these shoulders that you've warmed up, are breathing, they're supporting the work, they're upright, alert. The toes forward and back, and then switching them out, separating the big toes from the little toes. And I keep my socks on because it works better on the video. We have noticed that the contrast of the fabric of the socks does a little bonus than the naked skin. So separating out the toes forward and back, spreading the toes into as big of a toe fan as you can make down there, the way you are fanning the fingers. Fan out the toes. Whatever other toe wiggles and dances you might have as we move from toes to ankles. And just like the wrists, forward and back. First starts. Forward and back 3 to 5 times. That might take slower or longer if you have something that feels worth giving attention to, and from the flexion and extension into rotation. Circling around in one direction, in the opposite direction, in shapes of infinities, horizontal 8s. And those go in 2 directions. They go in the direction that you naturally begin with, and then they go in this backwards, sort of left-handed opposite, getting the brain involved into the puzzle way. All right. Again, noticing what else the ankles might need. Combination of toe bending and ankle bending, having the toes flexed as you flex and extend the ankle, and extending the toes as you flex and extend the ankle, and discovering all the nuance there. This is what a dance class is really made up of. All these articulations and isolations, getting into the bones and the toes and the muscles, and having the body warmed up. So not an official dance class, but this is the stuff that the body is nourished by and upheld in good maintenance. Toes and ankles, knees are next. If you're sitting, my invitation is to bring one and hug it and let it go back down. You might also choose to hold the leg and open and close the lower leg. This might be what you need today. Or moving the whole leg up and down, that's your choice. Beginning with 3 to 5 on one side. And we'll do the rotations and the movements with the knee. So whichever leg you began with, to hold it at the thigh so the lower leg is free. And as you establish that open point, let's call it 12 o'clock, and the lower point 6 o'clock. Finding that up and down, and then exploring, is there a 3 o'clock along the way? Is there a 9 o'clock? Allowing the hip to shift, to rotate inward and outward as the lower leg points in all these directions. Opens and closes. You hit those extremes of all the way open and all the way closed. Exploring the scenic, the roundabout, and you change direction in one direction and then in the opposite direction. Left and right. Around and around. Around and around they go. Yeah. My encouragement is to do one side, bending and rotating, and then compare. Have a moment finding the differences, naming what that difference is. That's a little word game you can play. Can you name what it is that you feel on one side and not quite on the other? And then we even it out. And then whatever happened on the right happens on the left. However you chose to engage with the knee, with this bending and straightening, whether that was the whole leg or holding the lower leg or a little bit of this and a little bit of that. From the open and the closed, you're holding the thigh and exploring a rotation, exploring what, moving the leg as if around a clock face, drawing a circle in one direction and in the opposite direction. Oh my goodness, I don't think we went for the 8s on the opposite side. You might try that here. You might go back to that first side if indeed this is something you're feeling the body needing. So here's some options. You might practice these figure 8s. You might change direction. You might come back for a figure eight on the side that didn't get one. You might try to do both legs together. That might be where you are today. You might do rotations of two legs. So a couple different options, going back to the first side or exploring both legs together. Keeping it the same and different at the same time. A little variation on a theme. And the importance of consistent practice and really the benefit of doing something that's the same or almost the same every day, every week. The body gets accustomed to it, develops a good habit, and good habits are where our good health lies. So as you finish with the knees, let the feet come to the floor and the knees come open so that you're in a butterfly position. And let's work with the hips a little bit. Recommendation is sitting. You can do this lying down. Go slowly. You might not even move at all if you bring your legs into a butterfly while reclining. And in a chair, you might move the hips on the chair open and close to get into the hip socket in a way that the floor provides the resistance here. And again, there's no wrong way to do this. So some of you might hang out in this low butterfly. Some of you might like a slower movement. Some of you might feel like your hips are so tight that just sitting this way is effort enough. Some of you might like a little bit of a forward bend. Really honoring what the signals of the body are and where the body says it's a good idea to go. And if it says too much, you back out. You might twist a little over one knee. And then, of course, the other one. What goes left goes right. And so you're exploring what is available with this position. Heels can be further from the hips. They can be a greater distance from pelvis to feet. There might be a smaller distance. Noticing how that changes the sensations, changes the process. What does that distance do? A little bit of a twist and forward bend. Might involve stretching with the arm. And some of you might enjoy an upright side bend, feeling the head be tall and reaching tall even as it moves into the side. Letting the one hand support you on the ground as the body reaches and opens. Left and right, our spines get so little of the side-to-side movement. It's really among the most crucial in a practice to get the sides of the spine. And some of you might even reach behind for support and do a little up higher release, a little back bend from this floor position. Nothing too deep. Following the body's wisdom, the body's guidance. Where does it feel safe to go? Where does it feel permissive to go? And as we work the joints of the legs and arms and the neck, the spine being the most essential, most important structure here is the bony mast and the trunk of the body. doing a sitting cat pose, a little convex and concave spine, the rounding forward, rounding back. And that might feel great. You might stay there. Today, you might like to turn over to the hands and knees and continue this movement in a more classic cat kind of way with an opportunity to lift and lower the head as you scoop and tilt the hips. And here again, you might hold. You might have some other movements that the body knows it needs and wants and will go for. Letting the freedom of a cat take over your stretching protocols here. What other movements does the cat like to do? Maybe reaching one leg back or forward towards the elbows. Whatever happens on one side happens on the other side as well. You might be reaching an arm. There might be side bends. Any variety of organic movements. There might be twists like the sleeping cat. In the sleeping cat, one hand goes between knees and arms to rest on the shoulder and the head. And the arms can be soft and surrendered in sleeping cat. They can be really a gentleness about it, or it can be an open, deeper, stretching sleeping cat pose. And as everything, in balance, left and right. Taking the cat where it needs to go, or letting the cat take you where you need to go. A few breaths of pause are next, and you might do that curled up. You might do that folded up in a child's pose with any support for the head, or you might do that stretched out. You might need to extend your body rather than fold it. Picking the resting position for your body today. And I invite you to count 5 breaths. Inhaling 5, exhaling 5. Inhaling 4 and exhaling 4. And so on. And if the count is lost or finished, begin again at 5. Body and breath.
gathering up the energy, preparing for what's next. The invitation is to move from a cat pose to a downward dog pose, from the table to the mountain. So if and when you're ready, coming again onto all fours, coming up from your lengthened position or your folded position into the tabletop. Tuck the toes under, lift the knees by pushing with the arms and rolling the feet to the heels. This might be a comfortable position for you, a familiar one. You might hang out here and rest, and this might be lots of work for you, and you might need to bring the knees down. Hands are open, fingers are wide, and the soft insides of the elbows are turned toward each other. So your elbows are not locked. They're ready to be soft and buoyant as the weight of the body shifts back by reaching the heels back, stretching from the fingertips to the hips and from the hips to the heels. This might be a pose that you hold and breathe in. It might be one you come up and down from. And like the cat pose, there might be some things you like to do hanging out in this dog pose. You might like to walk in place. I've been playing a little game of actually walking the dog a few steps forward and back. That might be something you play with. What other games can this dog play? You might lift a leg like you did with the cat pose if you were trying that. But a three-legged approach. And you might need a rest. From here, we'll go to standing. So when you're ready, you'll uncurl, unfurl, lift up and out like some of those spring flowers, uncurling into your standing position. And taking a moment here, taking a moment just to arrive, just to notice what it feels like to have feet on the floor. And stacking, checking that the knees are over the heels and that the hips are over the knees and the shoulders are over the hips and the head is supported by an engaged spine, a tall spine, like you're wearing a superhero cape. When you're ready, interlace the fingers, turn that over and reach up. Lengthen the spine. You might stay there. You might lengthen up and let the arms rest. You might even take this onto the toes. Doing between 5 and 7 repetitions of this upward lengthening, this reaching practice. Reaching the whole body up. If you can, I invite you to imagine that your hands get hooked onto something. So the shoulders are low. The shoulders aren't lifted. They're down. But the hands, as if they stay up there, and even as your heels come down, the hands keep reaching up. So you make a bigger little bigger stretch, bigger lengthening at the very tail end of lowering the heels there. Up. And it's like the hands keep reaching while the body comes down. From this one, the next one is a side to side, and that involves standing wider. I like to begin with the hands at the sides to notice where the spine is tight today, to just get a feel. And you might know where your arms want to go. You might have a place that you like to reach. And there's no rush. This might be a movement with the breath. This might just be a hangout. Like, oh, this left side needs this attention, needs a few moments. It might need 4 breaths, 5 breaths to open up and stretch out. So you're reaching, but you're exploring. You're keeping it organic. What's happening in the ankles? What's happening in the knees? Where are my hips? How do the shoulders fit into this puzzle? What is the neck doing? Finding those details. Left and right and left. And right and left and left and right. Side to side, satisfying the sides. To move into a standing twist. That's right. The starfish are coming up. I love it. The bodies just know. After that side stuff, it's a big wide expanse and that wrapping around. Fast or slow, same principle as always. You might hang out and breathe. That might be where you get your needs met, and it might be in the dynamic. It might be in the exploratory. Ahead of us yet, we have a forward and back and a balancing posture. So the front bend, back bend, the forward and back, taking this initial sequence from a traditional salutation, the upright position, the preparatory position, the exhale, really, it's breathing in and breathing out to then breathe in and back bend, look up, high release, and exhale, front bend, forward, down. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, vertical at center. Repeating this up to 7 times. Finding the softness in the movement, the fluidity in the movement, the breath. And the arms can go anywhere. I've been showing them low, but they might, in your body, they might like to go high. And some of you might quite enjoy doing one of 2 things. I'll give you 2 options here. You might do just the slow motion, curling the neck down and letting the whole body move into a forward bend. We used to call this the waterfall, as if the water were rolling off the back, and bone by bone you let your body slink down, ooze down, flow down to the floor. That might be something you want to do and hang out and breathe there. demonstrating very, very quickly. You might do this at reduced speeds. So that's one idea. Another idea is to interlace the fingers behind the back. Some of you might need that chest opening, shoulder blades together, forward bend with the shoulders engaged. Those hands can lift away from the body. So taking a few more moments with forward bends, check that you're not creating pressure in the head, that you're breathing, that you feel steady on your feet, that you're coming into center and balance. Forward, backward, I might need to just get tall after that. Whoop. And we'll continue for this week again as the final Monday in April with the flute player. We'll mix it up next month. We'll bring something new in our balancing postures for May. But today we'll continue with the music making. Positions for the feet. I'll get into the green here. Positions for the feet might be ankle against, or heel against the ankle, or it might be that foot crossing over. That would be the next level. The toes can still support, or they can lift up. Those are sort of the options and the layers. Toes, same side, opposite side, and lifted. Lifted would be the where you're working towards kind of hooking that foot in the back. The arms begin as cactus shapes, so straight out at the shoulders to the elbows, right angles to the fingers, and the index and little fingers point up, and the middle and ring fingers press the thumbs. So you have these sort of puppet shapes in your hands, and that tenacity, that alertness in the fingers is going to help you. If you just sort of hang them down low, you're going to be a little too soft. Let that perkiness, that alertness guide your balance. And on the side that the knee is bent here, on that side, both hands find themselves. One is further pointing out, one is closer pointing in. And your eyes are fixed on something that's not moving. So not the screen. Put your eyes on the floor, on the wall. Something that's not moving for your gaze. Hanging out here on this side. And then mirroring the whole thing, taking it onto the other side. And doing at least 2 rounds, at least twice on each side. As you complete the balance, as you find what you need here, take a moment to scan your whole body. Notice if there's anything else this body might need. Any movements, any stretches, any challenges. Where else does the body need your care, your attention?
Yeah, whatever else this body needs. It might need a twist, it might need to sit, it might need to lie down. Whatever else is calling for some movement, stretching. Where to honor the body, to give this body what it needs as we move slowly into a breathing practice. And there's no rush. So if you're still moving, you can move and breathe. And if you're done moving, you can be in stillness and be with the breath. We'll do a breathing practice and then a yoga nidra. So finding whatever else calls in the physical body. The average one of us, though, and each one of us is average in our own way, special in other ways, but many of us need about 45 minutes of movement. And then some stillness to integrate, some stillness and some internal movement, and movement of the mind, and movement of the breath. And the invitation really to even stretch the body from the inside, using the breath as the stretching vehicle. We've been doing that with expanding the breath capacity, especially in the winter. I was a great big proponent of those little sips of inhale to create a giant, full, stretched out lung capacity. We'll do a little bit of that today as we move into the soothing breaths of Ujjayi. And there's no wrong way to do this, let me assure you. And there is no wrong position to be in. So get comfortable. Let the body be as it likes to be, sitting or lying down. It might need some props under the knees or under the head. Give the body what it needs. As you settle in, get comfortable. And it begins with hanging out with the natural breath, with watching the breath that comes and goes, the ongoing presence there. Tuning into that rhythm, tuning into that speed. And if it feels good, take a few breaths in which you divide out the inhale into several parts. You inhale a little bit and pause. Continue the same inhale, pausing again, and completing that inhale with the fullness, the stretchiness of the lungs. So taking that a few times, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. And a smooth exhale. And it might feel good to just take a giant inhale, a giant breath in, to fill as much of the lungs, to be full, to hold that for a second or two. And let it out, set it free, cleanse the body. If you've done these deeper breaths and feel satisfied, return again to watching the natural breath. Be a witness. And let the mind focus at the area of the throat. Let the mind be in the neck. As you practice Ujjayi pranayama, you might know this practice and might just jump into it, and you might need this little bit of guidance with the focus at the neck and the throat. You might imagine an opening. You might imagine that the body's breathing through the throat, although the breath in physicality moves through the nose. And the throat comes into a bit of a vocal pattern without making a vocalization. So it's as if preparing the throat for the sound of AH, with inhale and HA with exhale, creating this gentle, almost like a quiet roar. Whisper, snore. The mind at the neck and throat, the listening, tuning into this sound of breath. Listening to this whisper, listening to these breath sounds, allowing the breath to slow down, to be complete in its arrival, and to be complete in its departure. And then letting that go. Softening all efforts, releasing all efforts. Just be there with the breath and the body and the rest. In the preparation for yoga nidra. Again, this practice can be done in any position. A resting position is recommended. Reclining, lying down, sitting with cushions and backrests, allowing the body to be held. Thank you, body, for all the work throughout the day, all the work, walking around, doing things with the hands, speaking, thinking things, having ideas and acting upon them. Let this body rest from this work, from these efforts, from these movements. Let this body rest, supported. Let this body be held. Wherever you are, the earth is beneath you. Wherever you are, gravity can hold you. This loving force of earth pulling you near, drawing you close. Let yourself trust that gravity is here. Let yourself trust the earth as this whole body rests so soft, so surrendered, so easy. Just a body breathing upon the earth. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, no one to please. Right now, this is the practice. And there may be this illusion of nothing happening. There may be this illusion that you're not doing anything, but you're doing one of the most important things that you can be doing right now, which is conscious presence, which is a restfulness for the body and the mind, a presence to that restfulness, companionship of the breath. Humanity is on a journey. And when you drop in to your inner landscape, when you come home like this, you're part of the solution. You're part of the help. All of us benefit when any of us are resting. So let this rest be for yourself and for your community, for your family and your neighborhood, for the whole city, and the whole state, maybe even the whole planet. This body resting upon the body of the planet in service of regeneration, rejuvenation, rest, repair, healing, homecoming, and evolution. So here you are in that service. Check that the body is comfortable. With your body's comfort, we can tend to the comfort of the world. Letting this body be comfortable and the mind be present. Present to the breath, always here, always arriving with her gifts of nourishment, always departing, cleaning up, taking what you no longer need. Watch the breath moving through this body so freely, so welcome. Body and breath, breath and body. And let the mind come to the space of the heart. Let the mind visit in this home of love and connection as you bring to the heart the things that bring connection, what feels connected and connective for you. Is that people or animals or nature? Perhaps some memories of connection, perhaps some plans in the future help feel connection. Inviting the sense of connection to fill the heart, reminding this whole body of this human expression, this human piece of connection, connection to others, connection to nature, connection to animals. Calling that up, summoning the feelings of connection. And watching for the connection between the heart and the lungs, and the connection between the lungs and the ribs. Even the connections between individual ribs, letting the mind move between the ribs at the front of the chest on the right and the left. The ribs at the back and the connection of the ribs to the shoulder blades, left and right, and the connection between the two shoulder blades along with the space between the shoulder blades. Notice how the shoulder blades are connected to the armpits and the armpits to the shoulders. Shoulders connected to the upper arms and elbows, forearms and wrists. Connected to the right hand and the left hand. The right hand thumb in connection to the right hand index finger. Connected to the middle finger on the right and the right ring finger. Connected to the right little finger. the palm of the right hand, energetically connected to the palm of the left hand. The way the left thumb is connected to the left index finger, connected to the left middle finger, to the ring finger and the little finger. The connection of the fingers to the hands to each other, the hands to the arms, and the arms to each other. This connection of the shoulders and the armpits and the shoulder blades and the chest, connected to the abdomen and the low back, to the pelvis, the right buttock connected to the hip and the thigh, to the right knee and lower leg, the right heel and ankle connected to the right foot, and the right big toe in connection to the second toe, third toe, fourth and fifth toe on the right. This right foot energetically connected to the left foot, to the left heel and sole, the top of the foot, the left big toe, in connection to the second toe, third, fourth, and fifth. The left foot and the left ankle, lower leg and knee, connected to the thigh, hip, and buttock. The left leg connected to the right leg. The two legs together, the pelvis, belly, low back, upper back, chest, right arm and left arm, connected to the neck, to the back of the head, the right side and left side of the head, the right ear, the left ear, down to the chin and lips, the nose and cheeks, the two eyes, the eyebrows, the point between the eyebrows in connection to the third eye, within the head, the inner vision, through the forehead and crown of the head, connected, head and face, neck and shoulders, right arm, left arm, chest and upper back, low back and abdomen, the pelvis and the legs, together the trunk and arms, neck and head, together the whole body, the whole body, the whole body. Be aware of the whole body, the whole body, the whole body, the whole body, resting, connected to the earth, the whole body connected to the sky with every breath, the whole body resting and breathing in the breath that arrives and departs, the breath that comes and goes. Let the inhales bring comfort. Let the inhales bring connection. Where is the body longing for connection? What does that feel like? Let the body show you. Let the body show you where it might feel disconnection, a lack of connection. Letting the mind move through and around the body, welcoming any places that might feel lonely, that might feel rejected or dejected. Scanning through the whole body, looking for any parts of the inner landscape, any parts of the physical body that are experiencing disconnection. Let the mind collect those, visit them, welcome them. Even the disconnected parts have a home here. Just being and acknowledging this sense of isolation or solitude. What does that feel like in the body? And seeking the opposite, letting that go and looking for the sense of connectedness, the sense of connection, community, and camaraderie, companionship, and support. What does connection feel like in this body? Letting the mind move around and connect and collect. The physical experience of connection, inviting connection into the whole body. What does connection feel like? As the awareness brings both contrasts into the whole, the isolation, the sense of loneliness or aloneness, and the sense of community and connection, the sense of belonging, participating. At the same time in this human experience, both and, lonely and connected. Away and together at the same time. At the same time. Asking the inner landscape, how do I wish to feel? How do I wish to feel connected? Letting that question be a game for the mind, for the heart, for the body, for the soul. How do I wish to feel? Calling in some of the ways, calling in the peacefulness and the calmness, calling in the courage and empowerment, calling in the gratitude and the joy. How do I wish to feel? How do I wish to feel here in this world, here in this life, in this body? With this awareness, collecting any insights, letting the body's wisdom come through, listening deeply perhaps to the quietness of the resting body, perhaps feeling the nourishment that rest provides. Emanating this rest, emanating this nourishment to the family and to the community, to the neighborhood, and to the world. How do I wish the world to feel? How do I wish the neighborhood to feel? What are these wishes, these desires that your heart is putting out into the sky, into the atmosphere, and down into the earth? With every breath, wishing wellness upon the world, wishing goodness for humanity. Letting the body be filled with this vibration, with this frequency. holding the highest good in focus, in conviction. And finding that in the body, generating that sense of world peace in the human body, in this particular person. The experience of the inner landscape as its own mirror of the whole world. And so creating that inner peace in the inner landscape, that inner joy, connection and interconnectedness. Listening to the wisdom of the body. And collecting anything this game might yield that's worth collecting, listening to the sounds of the room, maybe the whole building or house, the neighborhood, listening to these instructions, to this voice, listening to all of the sounds, listening. Listening to the sound of the breath, listening as if the breath were something on the outside that you can listen to, and feeling the touch of the breath, feeling how the whisper of the breath is produced in the friction of the air moving in the body, perhaps in the nose and the nostrils, perhaps in the throat. Feel the movement of the breath and feel the movement of the chest with the inhales and the exhales and the movement of the abdomen rising and falling. Be aware of the whole body breathing and feel this whole body. Breath after nourishing breath. Inhale, delivering just what you need, just what you call for, just what you wish for. How do I wish to feel? I shall breathe it in and make space with every exhale. Feel the whole body receiving and breathing. As this practice comes to an end, you might choose to stay in this space of rest, and you might choose to emerge with a deeper breath, an inhale, an exhale. You might choose to make little movements, move the tongue, the toes, the fingers, little movements of the face, maybe the eyebrows, maybe the hands, maybe the feet. Little movements. As this practice comes to an end, little movements. If you so choose, awakening at the body's speed, at the body's discretion. Does the body want to stretch and yawn maybe, or does the body want to fold up and hug itself? You've got this. Your body knows what it needs. And you might feel complete. You might choose to change position. You might warm up the hands and give that warmth to the eyes. And take a few moments to awaken, to emerge. You might like to massage your ears or the fingers on each of the opposite hands, left to right, right to left. And you might choose to stay right where you are, in your breath, in your comfort. Thank you for showing up and being here tonight. Thank you, as always, for your ongoing generosity. I appreciate what you send me. And I'm so glad to have completed another month with you. And we start again on May, what is that? The 3rd, Monday, May 3rd? And on Saturday, May 1st, I invite you to join Stacy and myself for an evening program. 7 p.m. on Saturday, Stacy and I will be doing a sound bath and yoga nidra, guided meditation. I can't believe 6 weeks have already gone by since the equinox. It feels like yesterday, but we're at the midpoint of spring. On Saturday, we will be halfway between the equinox and the summer solstice. So. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and leave a comment about your experience. And while you're here, please subscribe to my channel and opt in for notifications to catch the next class I upload. And then head over to olgachwa.com to join in a live event or to work one-on-one with me. I'm here to help.